Hey guys, Top Secret R35 here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be refinishing the ATS cups for the MK1 Golf that stands in the garage on jack stands right now. One of the main reasons I actually bought the car is when I saw the ATS cups. I knew I had to have this car, but they are in rough shape. Let me show you. So for starters, these are 15x7 ATS cups, originals from Germany, I believe. The sad thing is that somebody painted them white, painted the centers white. I don't know why you would do that. These are so beautiful in standard form. Now the originals did have like a black inner and then a black line along the spokes over here. I am going to do away with the original and just paint them one clean aluminum color. I think it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look factory. It's going to look standard. Firstly, let's see what we'll need for this project. So if your wheels do have paint on them, you'll need some paint stripper, and I do have a wire brush attachment with a drill, makes things very easy. And then also some varying levels of sandpaper, some for before paint, some for after, like priming, etc. I'll show you guys that. And then if you do have deep scratches or gouges, I do have some metal reinforced filler, and I'm not too sure about this. It's like a putty, epoxy putty. I'm going to try to use it on like a big crack. We'll see how that goes. I do have some alcohol for cleaning up before we spray. And then I've got primer, color coat, and clear coat. So all in all, I think I've got everything here. It might be one or two things I might use additionally. And they're all in order. So not too bad, considering I got quoted $140 per wheel. And I've already gone ahead and cleared all the paint off here. Boy, I think that was my hardest step. I'm going to start sanding first, and I'm going to be ready for the filler. Well, let's do it. Using the more aggressive sandpaper, right now I'm using 220 grit. I'm just hitting all the areas where I'm going to be applying the Bondo. So the thing is that the Bondo needs a very rough surface to attach to. So using you could even go down just to use 80 or so, but I just use 220 to get those scratches going. And now you want to mix your Bondo. Mixing Bondo sucks, you know, just use don't use porous paper to mix it in, it's going to get stuck inside. So I've got some wax paper over there. And then according to my instructions, about a 3-inch wide circle would equate to 32 drops of hardener. And I was using about a fourth each time for every wheel, so I used about 7 to 10 drops about, and then mix it in, you know. And obviously now I'm not trying to be all too Chris Fixie here, because I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time I was doing this, so I'm just showing you guys how it went for me. Pretty much scoop it up, bring it down, don't introduce air, get that Bondo mixed nicely. Once it's mixed, you only have about 3 to 5 minutes, so don't think you're going to use the Bondo for every single wheel. This is going to take you a long time. Prepare to take at least a whole day if you're going to do this. So obviously next up, put the Bondo into the scratches. Now this is a messy job and it's not a fun job. The only advice I have is to make sure that you're actually getting the Bondo deep into the scratches. Afterwards, you can always sand it away. You can always go 2 rounds with the Bondo. I could have essentially done 2 rounds, but I didn't. Somewhat regretting it, but not really, because the wheel still, it looked so good. And I will be using some filler putty at the end too. So my little secret, you can see there in the crack in the center cap where the wheel cap goes, I used the epoxy putty, and boy, I was pleasantly surprised how this came out. It worked really well. That part there, I did ask a body shop. They said it was not structural, so this is more for just aesthetic and for a place for the wheel center cap to clip in, which I do have on order right now. I have some VW center caps. I think it will spruce it up and make it look good. So yeah, just shape that. Apparently you're supposed to be wearing gloves with that one, but I took my gloves off at that point. It said you could just net it with your fingers. And once that's shaped, after about 5 minutes, it hardens up and you can sand it away. So to recap, I've used the combination of power tools and the 220 grit sandpaper, and I've sanded all the Bondo back down now. And it's looking good. It's looking good. You can't, with my fingers closed, with my eyes closed, I can't tell that there's Bondo on here.
Now, I'm not going to lie, there are some edges where I maybe missed just a little piece, and you can still feel a bit of a groove, but it's 100 times better than what it started with. So right now, I'm going to hit it with the 400 grit and spray the primer on. Once the primer is on, you're going to hit it with the 600 grit and then use the spot filler putty if I see an area that I really don't like, just to make it harder. So yeah, let's start that sanding process.
So I feel I should mention that 80% of this job is literally preparation. Only about 20% is actually putting paint down. So just be prepared to spend a lot of time sanding. Get a dust mask, use it. If you have compressed air, it's really nice, so you can, while you're sanding or while you're doing your prep work, you can hit it with the compressed air, see where, you know, errors are, and you can go at it again, because the sanding dust does get caught. And the more you sand, the better. So before we paint, obviously, you want to use some alcohol. Make sure that your surface is completely clean. A good thing to do is to use a testing cloth or a testing piece of paper, etc. Not paper, paper towel. Check, does it lift anything up? If it does, it's not clean enough. Go at it again, until it's nice and clean. And another little trick here. My wife was wondering where a hairdryer is. It's in the garage. You want to use the hairdryer, heat up your can nicely and make the flow much better. It was a bit chilly this day as well, so I had to do that. And then here comes the fun part. Please ignore my emoticon socks. This was my day off. I was chilling at home here. Yep, the fun part. Nice even coats. I used about 4 to 5 coats, I believe, and yeah, it came out fantastic. I'll show you guys what it looked like before the next step of sanding it back.
So I might have entered the realm of overkill, but I did use some glazing spot putty and put that into the areas where I had some imperfections and wanted to go over it. So now I'm going to repaint these with the primer, just where I sanded away the spot putty. And then at that point I'll be ready for the 600 grit, and then we can do our base coat.
So currently doing the final round of sanding, and you know, all the work that I've put in is starting to show. The wheels are looking great. I mean, if this was the final color, I would almost say, like, yeah, let's do it. It looks kind of cool. So remember now, take your time. I can't stress that enough. Take your time, sand, resand, look, blow air, take a look, because this is it. After this, we are going to be putting on the final base coat. So remember, warm up your can again, clean up the wheel again because you just sanded, and then that's it. So one thing I learned is that I did get a bit too excited with my first coat, and I've made it a bit thicker than what it should have been. So take your time, small coats at a time. I didn't have any runs, so I was lucky with that, but at the same time I tried to change the color with the first coat, and I shouldn't have done that. On the second and third coat I made it a bit lighter, and my patience came around. I humbled myself very quickly. I was like, hey, I'm not going to screw up this again. And after letting a few coats flash off, got my clear coat. And remember guys, like when you buy these products, just make sure that they're meant for like wheels or they're meant for engine. Engine you can pretty much use on anything because it's already heat resistant, etc. And I sprayed about 3 to 5 coats of the clear on as well. And man, I am impressed with what I did here. I wasn't expecting it to look this good, but it looked good. So I'll show you guys what it looked like while it was still wet.
Alright guys, so all 4 wheels primed, painted, clear coated. And I could not be more happy with the results. They are currently drying. I will show you guys, obviously, you know, I've got hundreds of videos planned on this damn car, but I will show you guys the end results. I do have the center caps on the way, and it's looking beautiful. About 3 coats of clear, 3 coats of base, 3 coats of prime. I do have a whole nother can of clear that I might just run over it again. But yeah, I'm going to let this dry, and it's going to look great.
2006.
You all in the corner? Get up.